Hi there, it is Ben and Skip. We are talking today about making remote work work for you. We're going to talk about a lot of super useful strategies for you and your team. We're really thrilled to be here. Before we get started on the content, we wanted to spend a moment to introduce ourselves to you. You might know Skip, but not me. You might know me, but not Skip. And heck, you might not even know either of us. So regardless of what that case is, let's give you the Reader's Digest version about us and then also about what we're going to talk about here today. So I am Ben Donahauer. I run a inbound marketing agency. A big part of what we do is video. We help teams, organizations use video to improve their sales, to improve their marketing, to improve their corporate communications just the same. So we're going to be talking a lot about the nuts and bolts of making video work for you and for your remote team as you level up through that process. Skip, how about yourself?
Well, Ben, thank you for the invite to participate in this program. I work with small business owners and their teams of employees to create what I call championship work environments that have employees thinking, acting, feeling, and making decisions as if they were the business owner, and really creating a high-performance work environment with everybody, as I say, rowing in the same direction. So, and one of the things that prompted me to create this content, my segment of the content, of this presentation is the fact that I'm just seeing so much of a accelerated move towards the remote workplace. And when I'm looking at how I can be even more relevant to clients and small businesses in this crazy environment we've been experiencing for the last 90 days or so, I just have seen so many people making this shift really in a moment's notice. And it wasn't in mid-February or even after, for a few weeks, nobody was expecting to do this, to make remote work a major part of how they did their business. And lo and behold, March 15th came and everybody's been forced to do it to one level or another. And so I just thought this would be a really good topic for people to wrap their heads around how to do this and do it effectively.
Yeah. Skip, we're hearing from some participants that they are not hearing your audio. I'm hearing your audio just fine. If anyone else can chime in here with a message to me, whether you're having some audio issues with Skip, would be happy to get some of that feedback.
And that's why I have the headset on, so I thought that would solve that problem. But I'm coming through okay to you. Hopefully others are getting it and it's on the receiver's end. But
yes, fantastic. So I know you're going to start off with a presentation here, and Skip's going to give this first segment of our masterclass on making remote work work. Going to talk about those big picture communication pieces and the different levels of making remote work. Others can hear you just fine. So that first individual, please check some of your audio preferences. I'm happy to work with you while Skip is going through his presentation here privately if you're still having some issues. But thanks for alerting us to that just the same. And Skip, take it away here. I know we're going to have a little bit of back and forth here, but I'll see if I can get this one attendee situated with the audio.
Okay, great. So let's see how we advance the slides here. There we go. That's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to zip through this because you already talked about the background and what we're going to be talking about. So let's look at some statistics. Did some research and found that if you look at remote workplaces internationally, globally, if you look at Europe, 23% of people in Denmark work remotely. Now that is defined as working from home or remotely at least several times per month. So this does not mean it's every day. But 23% of Danes work from home several times per month. In the Netherlands, it's 21%. In Sweden, it's 18%. In the United States, it's just 7%. That's based on 2019 statistics. That probably has gone through the roof in the last couple of weeks and months. It'll be interesting to see what those statistics are come later this year if they update them and see really what the shift has been. But what I'm saying is it's a significant transformation. This is the types of people in the United States that have been working remotely to this point, mostly management, higher salaried employees. Obviously, the lower end of the wage scale are the types of jobs where people have to be on site, working with their hands. The healthcare workers, the service people. Not surprising that the lower wages have to be on site and are not allowed to work remotely. So just some background statistics there. Just want to get people starting to think about what are the advantages of working remotely for a company and the organization or for the individual team members. I think it's really important to look at what the advantages are so that we can leverage those. And my wife works for county government, and until March 15th, never in a million years would they ever be allowed to work remotely consistently. Now, she and her entire department and whole division of county government just collaborated to create a future remote work environment where everybody was given the choice of working from home either 1 or 5 days a week. You pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever you want to do, and put your schedule together. And that is just transformational for government, employees. And so it's not the only place it's happening, but just doing this for 8 to 12 weeks, they see that it's doable, right? And how can we add value? But what I found about this, researching it internationally, and what other cultures are finding, is there are huge advantages. And in 2014, there was some specific official research done through Stanford University, a Chinese travel agency with a call center with 16,000 employees. They created a 9-month research project where they asked people to voluntarily work remotely. And they took those volunteers and then they split them into 2 groups. A group that was allowed to work remotely, and then a control group that worked back at the office on site, as they always had. And they found that home working improved productivity by 13%, 9% more minutes per shift employees were doing on the job, and 4% more calls were taken per minute. Employee attrition fell by 50% against the control group, and that's huge because, as you probably know, Ben, call centers are highly have high attrition, high turnover in call centers. It's not the greatest job in the world, low pay, but that flexibility gave people the comfort in their job. The other important thing is they saw no loss of quality in their customer service. And they felt that really overall productivity improved 20, 30% and saved $2,000 per employee who was working from home. But it's not for everybody. And so what they found is after they had this great success, they opened it up to the entire company. And 50% of the people who were in the work from home group in the research decided they wanted to go back and work on site because it wasn't for them. So what you're going to find is it's not for everybody. And that's why, my wife's job, I think it's really cool that they're giving people the choice. How many days do you want to work from home? And some are selecting none. Some are selecting 3 or 4. And I don't think anybody's selected 5 yet. But it's going to evolve and grow. In 2012, the U.S. Patent and Trade Office actually did some of this and did some research, and they found a 4.4% productivity increase with no significant increase in rework or quality deterioration. So I think the jury may be still out on productivity. I think there's a strong showing that it can improve productivity if people have the flexibility of working remotely. Gallup's research came out in January of 2020, just 5 months ago on this. And this is some quotes from their report. Remote work not only improves outcomes in employee branding, but it is a policy that the most talented employees desire. And I would add to that, not just the most talented employees, but I think the younger generation is going to really want this. And so you've got to start stepping up and bringing your work environment into the 21st century. Much of the research indicates that remote workers are more productive between higher engagement scores, increased productivity offsite. Workers offer the greatest gains in business outcomes. And in an organization with 500 people working 3 times per week, you could see significant financial improvements in productivity. So I think, there's a great case to be made for this. But it's not perfect, right? So think about what the challenges are for an organization and individuals. I know we're here, especially in the whole COVID thing is a little unique in the fact that everything is shut down. So the kids are also at home, and the parents have to do homeschooling and do their job. So there's some challenges there. But even if the kids weren't home, if they were at school or they're at day camp during the summertime, you still have some personal challenges in being able to focus, not being pulled away by personal stuff at home. It's different for everybody. And there are challenges just from, again, keeping people engaged, and we'll talk about that as we move forward. So I think one of the leading company leaders in remote workplaces is this guy named Matt Mullenweg. He's sort of in your world, Ben, and I think one of the reasons why you suggested we do this program is your company also, you're 100% distributed workforce, right? Just like Matt Mullenweg, who's founded WordPress, and the parent company is Automattic. 1,175 employees in 75 different countries. They've all worked what he calls distributed workforce, not remote. He likes that language better. I think it makes more sense. Remote sounds like you're in the middle of a jungle somewhere or out in the outback in Australia, in a remote place to work, but you're just distributed. You're working in an office that's distributed across the globe. Ben, what's your experience with your remote team? I know you don't have 1,175 employees in 75 countries, but you have a few you have to deal with.
Certainly, and that certainly was an impetus for this conversation, and what I thought would bring some value here to the overall marketplace by talking about this. It's kind of funny because my team and we joke that not much has changed, and then my wife and I joke that not much has changed either. We get everything delivered through Amazon, and we work out of the house, and so this is our life, is being a distributed team. And I think what you had mentioned earlier about younger generations, especially looking for that sort of distributed workplace, being able to work from home as a core way to retain talent, to attract young talent, is being really important. It's something that allowed me, from a talent recruitment perspective, not just to think about the people in my community and in my area. I'm plugged into our technology community, our marketing community in central Pennsylvania. But when it comes to hiring people, I can hire people globally. And when I'm looking at talent across the planet and able to identify the best of the best, geez, I might find that person in Texas, I might find that person in Ireland, and I might find that person in Serbia. And so I am able to open up to a much broader pool of talent and pull those folks in. But to your point, it's really critical. And one of the reasons why I thought it was useful to have this conversation is having that company culture and identifying individuals who are going to fit into it really well is absolutely critical. I have made a hiring mistake or two by bringing on someone that this wasn't a good fit for them. And they were a talented person. They showed success within prior employers. And I'm sure that they're doing excellent in their current employer environment, but this remote work thing just wasn't a good fit for them. So being able, now that we're all sort of thrust into it, like it or lump it, there is a big sea change happening here. And if we're going to make the most productive and efficient work environment here, we need to have these conversations.